How do you pick the best lot in the community? Over the last 10 years, I've sold hundreds of new construction homes. And one of the very first decisions you will need to make is which lot you would like to build on. It's the first decision you'll make, and it's probably the most important decision you'll make throughout the entire process. It's your lifestyle. It's about natural light. It's about traffic patterns. It's about resale value. When do you pay a lot premium? When do you not pay a lot premium? So in this video, I'm going to go over the 7 most important things you need to look at when picking out a lot for a new construction home. Number 1, the location in the community. This is when we talk about traffic patterns, sidewalks, street lights, easements, cable boxes, future development, existing development. Generally, the further you are into a community, the better. What builders will often do is that they'll release the lot closest to the entrance of the community first, because as they build a community, they start up front and they work toward the back. And while they work toward the back of the community, they can raise prices because those lots are more desirable. You get less car traffic, you get less construction traffic, and you might be able to find a cul-de-sac or a lot that backs up the trees. Number 2, easements. All lots have easements. Utility easements, cable easements, sewer easements, they just exist. But some lots have more easements than others. Placement of an easement is also critically important. Do you want to build a pool in the backyard in the future? Do you want outdoor living space? What about conservation easements? You might be better off getting a smaller lot with fewer easements. Number 3, you want to look at the building restriction line or the limit of disturbance line. Again, and this leads to what you can do with the lot in the future. Fundamentally understanding what you can and cannot do on your lot based on the building restriction line or the limit of disturbance line is hugely important. So if you look at this lot here, number 31 versus lot number 30, these two lots actually had the same lot premium. But once you got out there and walked the lots, you're like, oh wow, 30 actually has some depth. It has some views, and the density of the trees on the existing conservation easement pales in comparison to the lot next door, where the trees are really thick, a lot of underbrush, and it really affects the view from inside the home. Number 4, elevation. A lot of times you make a decision based on site maps or marketing materials. It's really important that you work with the builder and the sales team to get an elevation map. You want to see exactly how the yard is going to be laid out. You want to see where the water is going to go when it rains. You want to understand if your backyard is flat, if your driveway is uphill, how the existing neighbors around you affect the water on your property. Look at the actual county drawings at the plat to understand what the yard will look like when it's all said and done. What direction is best? Where do you want your house to face? How do we maximize sunlight? It's easy to say, yes, if the home faces this direction, it'll get more light, or that direction, it'll get more light. But it really depends on a few things. What about shadows from a neighbor's house? Right? Some of these communities are really close. If you anticipate putting a ton of windows on the eastern or western side, but you have this huge house right next door, you won't get a lot of light. What is the orientation of your floor plan? Is it a right-hand floor plan or a left-hand floor plan? What does that even mean? You might walk into a model home and it's laid out a certain way. What rooms get light at what time of day? A lot of mistakes I see people make is they choose the lot direction that they think will get the most amount of light without taking into consideration what rooms are affected the most, right? You might have a side load garage that takes up the entire western exposure of a house despite you being facing south, and next thing you know, you have a dark home. Utilities. Not all homes are created equal. I've seen communities where some lots are on septic and some lots are on public sewer. In Arden, for example, did you know there's 3 types of sewer? You need to know exactly what that is. You need to know how that affects your property, how that affects your maintenance, your resale. Might not be a big deal, but you better understand it. And last but not least, value. Sometimes the best lot is obvious and there's a huge lot premium attached to it, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes we'll say, okay, you know what? Obviously this lot's the best lot, but it's $100,000 more. Whereas this lot is not asking any premium or asking a small premium. And in my opinion, it's adequately as good. For whatever reason, this lot is not worth $100,000 when this other lot is available. And understanding when it's important to spend a lot of money on a lot premium and when there's opportunities not to. Did I miss anything? If you're having a tough time picking out a lot in a new construction community, feel free to reach out to me. All my contact information is below. Thanks and have a great day.